Hi, it's good to be back again. I'm Dexter Valles of Valma International. I have often been asked at many of my workshops or even coaching sessions this amazing question, which I'm sure all of you have had in your mind at some point or the other. So the question is, how do I win an argument without making the other person feel that they've lost? Because when they feel they have lost, maybe I run the risk of losing the relationship too. Or maybe the other way around. How do I negotiate my way in an argument where even if I lose the argument, I don't feel I have lost? Now, these are very powerful questions because number one, it is all about the words we are using to describe the conversation. To begin with, we are using the word argument. We are using the words winning and losing. This itself sets us up to have a very different approach to the whole conversation, the discussion or the debate as it may be. The moment we term it as an argument, we automatically indicate that we are looking for a result which means either I win and the other person loses, or that there is some conflict that has accelerated to a level where a discussion has now become heated and has become an argument. Perhaps this is the lingo we have used often enough, and maybe we don't pay attention to the fact they're actually using the word argument. But some of the mind triggers on the word argument and offers us unconsciously, subconsciously, a behavior that is suited to an argument and perhaps not suited to a conversation, right? I mean, you and I know that already. If we are having a conversation, we would be speaking in a particular way and behaving in a particular way. But if we are going to have an argument, automatically the gloves are on and we are ready to fight. So there itself is the whole issue of win-lose. Now, what if we could train our brain to think about what we think as arguments, as discussions, debates, conversations, where rather than get into the act of battling each other to either win or avoid losing, we look at navigating through the traffic of emotions that come along with the content. And along with the issues that we are talking about, invariably there's a whole lot of baggage of emotions that have been attached to it perhaps much earlier in life, and also which have been built up in the current context. The moment you pull up a word or any element of that content, even a look, or maybe the way you express yourself through your body language in response to what somebody else says, your tone of voice, the way you position your body, the gestures you make, perhaps those pull along with it all our old frameworks that we have developed around what we understand those to be and mean and how we need to respond to them. And we bring them all to the current table. So maybe we've got to really relook at how we are terming what is an argument and what is the meaning of winning and losing. So I don't think really we want there to be a victor and a vanquished. We are no longer at war as we were in the old days, and perhaps we still are now on the real battlefields of the world. But why bring those battlefields into the boardroom or into your room or your desk or your living room, wherever you are? Why not look at it as an animated discussion or a debate where everybody has the right to have an opinion, and we have the responsibility of managing that right of the other person and our own rights to have an opinion, and put it forward as animatedly, as energetically as possible. So if we are okay with that, then we are okay with many more things. Which means that the moment somebody raises their voice in high energy and animation, it's not necessary that they are shouting at us. It's perhaps their own enthusiasm with their point of view, which they are probably in love with, just like we are in love with our own points of view. So how do we go beyond a shouting match? So one of the things to look at is the words you use. The moment you use a lot of you are doing this, you are saying that, you said this, you did that, you tend to put the argument back into focus. You tend to put the other person on the back foot. They really do not want to be buttonholed. They don't want to be accused or blamed about anything. So how about using it the other way around as I? Instead of saying, you have not given me enough information, let's say, I would like to have more information, or I tend to make decisions when I have a certain amount of information and I think I need more. Would you be able to help me with that? So, when you do use the you, what you are really doing is saying, this is what I need and this is how I'm asking you to behave to help me fulfill my need. Now that's a good request. Now that's not saying that my behavior is because of something you did. So that would be a good way to manage the conversation, where I take responsibility for what I need and how I am behaving. And I engage the other person to help me through that process. Everybody likes to help other people if they are asked nicely. Nobody likes to be blamed for not helping. So think about it and see whether you can transfer the use of you and I so that it becomes more powerful to help you. The other is, we tend to take positions. We tend to take positions, and it seems sometimes that we don't want to move away from those positions because the ego is involved. So why do we take positions? We probably take positions because we are trying to protect something that we believe we will lose. In this entire business of navigation, we have hit a signal, a red signal, a signal that says stop, there is danger ahead. So what if we were to consider that these signals are only guidelines? These are not really meant for us to use as the rules of the game in a conversation. A red would mean tread carefully, there is something that's very important to someone up ahead. And crossing that red line may mean getting entrenched into an argument rather than a discussion, a debate, or an energized conversation. A green, of course, means go, let's go for it, everything is clear, we're high on energy, we are on the same plane. The orange is an in-between kind of feeling which says, would you like to pause over here and think about what's being said and how we need to go ahead? A pause is the orange button. A pause is something that helps you catch your breath, makes your brain think again about what it's going to do, to think about the thought you have before you make that thought into some kind of words, and those words into some kind of action. So think about how you are using the signals, the red light, the green light, and the in-between, the orange pause, so that you can navigate through the traffic of the emotions that are accompanying the content, the words, and the meaning therefore gets colored by those emotions. So how to be able to acknowledge that there are emotions attached to it, people are allowed to be emotional, but how can we become more emotionally intelligent by recognizing the emotion and dealing with it, rather than saying, hey, it's not supposed to be there, or only I'm supposed to have the emotion and you are not. Everybody's emotion is welcome. The thing is, what do we do with that emotion? Do we treat it with respect? Do we allow it to be there? And do we say, okay, now that I know this emotion is there on the table, what do I do with that emotion, and how do I allow that emotion to support what we are doing? So if there is anger, we need to investigate that anger. We need to maybe ask a few calm questions rather than let that anger become infectious. So one of the things about anger, for example, or all these extreme emotions like anger, fear, shame, guilt, grief, is to be able to look it in the eye, press the pause button and say, what is it that I am feeling now that I am faced with this kind of emotion? The emotion may not be mine, it may be somebody else's. But what is it doing to me? What kind of corresponding emotion am I bringing in response to this emotion? Or what is this emotion within me going to create as a response in the other person? So a pause to be able to announce our emotion rather than act on it would be a good way to go. A good way to go would be to say again, I'm getting rather angry and upset about this. Is there some way that you can help me understand why this anger is being felt by me? Rather than saying, you are making me angry, you are making me depressed. Nobody likes to be blamed for your emotion. They have their own emotions which they are anyway struggling with. Maybe they don't even know that. So how to be able to deal with the emotion? So number one is change the language that you are using. Try not to use all the deadly words that force you to commit yourself into an action before you even know it. So for example, an argument is probably a heated way of saying discussion, animated discussion, conversation, debate, energized debate. So change the words you're using, flip the I and the you so that the I takes responsibility for what's happening and we use the you to engage the other person's support. And the other thing is to be able to navigate and negotiate your way through emotional traffic, looking through those emotional traffic signals and asking yourself, what is that traffic signal really saying? Press the orange pause button and ask yourself, what do I do with what's now in the traffic with me? It is going to take a little time to practice this because we are not used to pressing the pause button. We are always in free flow. We are always doing what comes to mind, and we've practiced this across a lot of time. So we don't really pause to think, are we right or wrong? We most of the time think we are right. And that's the problem also, because when we think we are right, we don't even want to double check. So it's a good measured way to announce what you are trying to say or do. After you manage these three, which I mentioned, the other, as I said, is announce your emotions, announce your plan, or announce what is in your mind without saying that this is what we need to do. So a good way to say is, look, based on whatever has been said, I am thinking about it in this way. Or I have a feeling about this and this is what I feel. Rather than saying this is what we should do and this is, I've made up my mind about it, or I'm very clear about it, we tend to make all these very definitive sentences and statements that say, I'm clear, it's absolutely crystal clear, I know what you are up to, and we are busy pinning the other person to the wall. So let's move away, give ourselves a breath to be able to refresh our minds, to be able to manage the conversation a little further. And you will soon find that you can actually settle into a discussion that allows each other to put their points on the table, respects those points, whether you believe in it or not, or whether you support it or not. But knowing that everybody has the right to what they believe in, their opinion and the emotions that come with it, and so do we. And putting it all together, what can emerge from that? You don't have to agree with everything that's put on the table, but you do not have to disagree in such a way that the other people feel dismissed. Because when we disagree with a point of view, we are not dismissing the other person. Is there a way in which you can still manage to show clearly that you respect the other person and that you also do not agree in a large manner or small manner with the point they're putting? So is the respect still there even if the disagree pulls the conversation down here? But when this happens, you can actually get everything on the same plane. And we're talking about, for example, even in selling skills, when we're talking about negotiation skills and people taking positions to protect what they feel to lose, is there a way in which you can help people who have taken positions, or even help you if you've taken a position, to understand what is being protected? What is the person fearing that they will lose? What do you fear you will lose? And announce it. Discuss it. Say that perhaps this is something that we need to protect. Perhaps this is something that we agree that we will not go there. So whatever we are saying, it's not going there. Or when it does go there and you feel uncomfortable, could you please announce it and tell us what you're feeling about what's happening there? The more open and transparent we are, and the more honest we are about our conversations and about the people we have with us in the room, at the table, or wherever we are, the better it would be. So the integrity, the authenticity of who you are comes to the fore, and it is more than likely that when you buy into something, Even when you're trying to sell something, when you're trying to sell a point of view, an idea, or even a product, if you can buy something from the person you're selling to, that would be a great way to be able to manage a win-win situation. At the end of the day, it doesn't really end equally for everybody, and it's not supposed to. But at least the relationship should feel equal, even if what you have been discussing has not ended on an equal footing. Right? So here's that small little tip. I hope you benefit from this. I hope you can put it into practice. And I wish you all the best and good luck in your next argument. Bye for now. See you again the next time.